Well, hello, we're in the studio at the National Honey Show 2025, and it is the second day of the National Honey Show, the busiest day so far. I'm joined by Lynda and Tony. Lynda, we've already met this morning, and it was a lovely conversation that we had about the Wax Chandlers and your involvement in the National Honey Show. Who is this next to me? This is Tony, but who is Tony?
That's a very good question. I am the Deputy Master of the Wax Chandlers Livery Company, which means that I was Master last year, which is the most prestigious role within the company. And Tony is the Renter Warden. So the progression is Renter, Upper, and then Master. So in 2 years' time, Tony will be the Master of the company. But we both joined the company for different reasons. As you know, my family have been involved with beekeeping for many years. But I'll let Tony tell you his interest.
Yeah, I'm by trade. I'm a wax blender. Bit of a strange thing. There aren't many of us. It's quite a small pond, so you can be a big fish quite easily. And I spent my life making wax blends for industrial uses, coatings, cheese waxes, bread wrapper, candles, and that sort of thing. And I set up a business doing specialities, which is small volume. Should have been high margin, but never really worked out that well. And we do an incredible variety of wax blends. And the link is with Wax Chandlery. Wax Chandlers were only concerned really with beeswax, which is a very, very valuable commodity. It has unique properties. As a wax blender, we use beeswax in with other waxes and other some polymers and what have you to create really interesting products. Some of them, I mean, I've got some here. This here is a false eye, which is used by the big eye hospitals, where they make an artificial eye for children out of wax. And it has to have a particular property so it self-lubricates, because as the child grows up, the socket changes, and then they have to keep changing it. So it's highly technical. We supply that around the world, but it's probably in about 20 kilos a year. That's it. You can't run a business on that. We also do a lot of work in special effects. So all the film studios, we worked on all the Harry Potter movies, for instance, right from the very first one to the last one. These are the artificial glass for James Bond movies and what have you, where you can make bottles and glasses. If you're on stage, you've got to smash it over somebody's head. It's the safe way it's the safe way of inflicting apparent injuries to people. But it's a nice business. It's lovely. We make this, and this is sent out to people and then molded into bottles, glasses, or whatever. But some of our most interesting ones, where we really learn a lot, because it's an evolving thing, is art. We do a lot of work in art, where wax is so versatile. You can make it do things, and you can make it look like something it's not. And one example was with a very, very accomplished structural artist called Alex Chinnock. Some years ago, we built a wax house in London Bridge, right next to the station, 4-bedroom detached.
Out of wax.
Out of wax. Every brick, 8,000 bricks, and this is one of them. 8,000 of these were made. The special cement to put them together. And we persuaded him to make everything from wax. So all the window frames were made of wax. The windows were made of wax. And we cast a front door in one go. And it was fantastic. I don't think we made any money on it, but it was a fantastic project. But the wax business now, it's many and varied. And as a company, the Wax Chandlers, we've got a lot of links with the modern wax business, as well as with beeswax and honey. So it's quite nice, you know, instead of just being surrounded by beekeepers in the thing, we do have quite a mixture of people in the industry as well.
Well, I imagine that the brick house made out of wax must have taken quite a while to make. How long does 8,000 bricks out of wax take to make?
Well, we had to make them in batches and then work out how to make them, most important. Then we had to develop a cement, because the water can't go into the brick and those sort of things. And in total, I think it took about 3 months from the minute we decided what the design was going to be to actually getting it up there. And then we took 60 days to melt it, So every night we went in there, we lifted the roof off and then melted 3 courses and dropped the roof down again. So the next morning people came in and they could just see there's wax melting. And we engineered the wax so that it did melt away, like in great long. If you go onto the website, Alex Chinnock, or our own Darren Wax website, you'll see images of it. How else do you make something as boring as wax sort of sexy? It's not easy.
That's true. And what other things can you make out of wax?
Well, in our particular business, we're very big in the cosmetics market. Hair removal is a massive global market for us. But other industrial waxes include coatings. We go back to the 1970s, every wax wrapper, every wrapper was coated in wax. Every detergent box, every cereal box had wax paper. Milk cartons were all waxed. Well, plastics took most of that business. So the big wax market sort of disappeared, and it created this speciality market, which is there, and it's pretty healthy. It's not expanding a great thing, but diversifying all the time.
Wow. And how did you get into wax and the Wax Chandlers? I imagine it's a long story, but
no, it's not actually. I just couldn't get a proper job when I left school, and I was lucky enough to get to work in a laboratory where they were doing wax blending when it was in its heyday. As I approached my retirement or started to get a little bit too old to do things, I thought it would be nice to get into the city livery companies. My father was a stationer. I could have joined stationers by patronage, which is a progression in the livery movement. If your father was in it, you're entitled to. But I'm not a stationer, so I went round to see the Wax Chandlers, and I was on my way to Tallow Chandlers, but they wouldn't let me past Wax Chandlers. So they wanted to get more links with the modern wax business. And today, I think we've probably got 5 of the wax companies, 5 of the 6 wax companies that are in the UK are all in livery.
Well, then I can certainly say that it's a great success in that way.
Yeah.
To have 5 out of.
Yeah, I think we do well from recruitment from that.
Yeah.
And it's diversity as well. If you've got a room full of beekeepers, you've got a completely different demographic, I can tell you.
Absolutely.
But even that industry is now, through things like National Honey Show, is becoming so much more professional. And with that becomes productivity. And there's no doubt that the English honey, the British honey industry is really thriving now, isn't it?
And we do try our best to support it.
Yeah.
And I can assure you, we are not a room full of beekeepers. We're very lucky.
I wasn't insulting you.
We're very lucky. We have lots of different skills in the company. I just have to remind him that I am the deputy master.
I'm sorry, but I'm a beekeeper as well. So I do keep bees, or they keep me, I think.
But we were very aware the importance of supporting the speciality wax industry, because there are so many challenges to all industry at the moment. So anything we can do to work together is important.
Absolutely. And how do you see the relationship between the Wax Chandlers and the National Honey Show developing in the future compared to how it is now?
Well, I think we've been sponsoring it financially for
28, I think.
28 years,
yes,
is it?
yes.
And in that time, it's moved on from, if you like, some enthusiasts into a very, very professional organisation. And if you look at the level of involvement they've got with the industry, I mean, how many categories of honey were there this time? It's 2,600 or something. You've almost certainly had that here today.
Definitely.
I was talking to Bob Maurer about it. He did the World Championships or whatever it was in Denmark, and they only had 300 entries. I mean, this is must be the biggest honey show in the world.
It is.
Certainly,
Definitely.
And it's becoming a lot more professional. The really interesting part is the education. You know, the stuff that's going on in the theatres and what have you, where they're teaching people to do stuff. It's incredibly valuable, because once it's there and it's up there, it's there for everybody to access. And I think one of the challenges has been to how do you really reap the benefits of that, whether it's by monetizing it or just by coverage on it, I think is a challenge which I think the Honey Show is really rising to. And it's very impressive.
Do you see it as a difficulty that you need to overcome to get younger people into the Wax Chandlers or younger people involved in beekeeping generally?
I think that's two questions, isn't it?
Definitely.
I think with getting younger people into beekeeping is being addressed very, very well by the bee farmers. We've had a lot of involvement with their apprenticeship scheme, and the result of that has made bee farming actually a true profession. They're sharing information. They're not just people who are maybe retiring and keeping a lot of bees. This is a career, and there's never ever going to be enough British honey, and it's definitely at a premium. With regard to with the worshipful company of Wax Chandlers, as with all livery companies, I don't think we actually actively recruit. If we see people who've got some interest in it and they might get invited into it, we are very much associated, or trying to get more associated with the trade rather than just the livery company. There are city livery companies which don't follow any of the professions anymore. I mean, when was the last time you met a girdler?
Never.
Right, but it's a very, very successful livery company. So you tend to find professionals, city professionals, join livery companies, and it's the history, the fact they own halls. You've got special access to certain things in the city. Just the sheer uninterrupted history of the City of London. It's very attractive to particularly lawyers, solicitors, insurance brokers, city brokers. It's a city thing. So we're one of the few which are actually making an effort to break out of that into the actual industries. And I think a lot of our brewers, for instance, they're very heavily supported by the brewing industry. But as I say, there's not so many playing card manufacturers in London anymore, is there?
But we of course have the apprenticeship scheme that we work with, and a majority, quite a number of those apprentices are members of the company, which is wonderful. And we do try and have specific evenings for the younger generation, because we have to accept we are dinosaurs in their eyes, aren't we?
Absolutely. We had a young freeman's dinner last year, and it was a riot. Sorry, it was great. But this is the young freemen they're an organisation of their own, and they'll visit all of the halls and then make a decision on whether they want to join any of them. But it's a fantastic evening, and they're all under 40. Under 40.
Yeah.
Goodness, so I can imagine that the events that take place and the way that it's understood and moving forward,
I mean, the traditions are fantastic. We're there to support the Lord Mayor, who this year will be female. It's not the first female Lord Mayor. We've had two of them before. One of them's in our company. Dame Fiona Woolf was the second Lord Mayor female. But this year's Lord Mayor has decreed that she is going to be known as Lady Mayor. And she was elected 3 weeks ago.
And the procession is on the 8th of November. So we'll see her through the streets of London that day.
Yeah. And if nobody's ever been to the Lord Mayor's show, they should do. It's unbelievable how few people go to it. It's a huge show, but I live just outside of London, and people say, "Oh, I've never been to it." Oh, I know it's on, but it's the most incredible spectacle of absolute tradition. 696 years.
Wow, that is a very long
pretty
time.
uninterrupted of Lord Mayors. But I'd say this one is historical because it's Lady Mayor.
Well, for our viewers then who live close to London or just outside of London, and you can get into London easily, the 8th of November, did you say?
8th of November,
Saturday.
from around 10:30 in the morning, they form up, they process down towards Guildhall, then round to Mansion House, pick up the new Lord Mayor, and then in the Golden Carriage. It's the oldest processional carriage in the world.
Yeah.
And then they progress down to the courts where he or she is shown, hence the Lord Mayor's show. And then they march back again. And you've got the bands, and you've got the army, and you've got cars and all sorts of things going on. It's a great day. Somebody told me it's the longest procession in the world.
That's what they claim. All the literature.
Even above things like Mardi Gras and stuff like that.
Oh,
It's and by the time the Lord Mayor arrives at the courts, the procession still hasn't left our hall. they form up outside our hall near St Paul's.
Wow.
So yeah,
So certainly something to go and have a
Absolutely,
look at, especially
absolutely.
with it being such a historical
Yeah.
event this year.
it is very much so.
So at the Bee Show, at the National Honey Show, apologies, you have a stand.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Should people go and see it?
Come and see us by all means. It's a bit of a strange. We always have one, and it's there to raise a bit of awareness to us as a livery company, and to a certain extent livery companies in general, benefit from that. We're not selling anything. We're always encouraging interest from people who might want to become part of livery, particularly if they want to be active doing something. I mean, we're incredibly active in charities. We're very fortunate. We've got a bequest which was left to us in 1585.
1600s, yeah.
1585 from a past master who left us property and money, which we still manage. And the profits from those investments and what have you get fed into a particular charity, a lot of which is London Borough of Bexley. It's actually one of the poorest parts of England, believe it or not, just outside London. So we do small grants into there to help maybe school children, other charities which are around, and we also do persons in need, and we have a Greater London Fund as well. And we have a proper committee which sits and allocates funds where it can. So charitable work is very, very important to nearly all the livery companies. So it's nice to be able to tell people about that. We do a lot with education. We're sponsoring an academy at the moment, supplying them things they couldn't normally get out of their normal budget. So it's incredibly worthwhile. Plus some of the City of London schools, which are there. So that's very rewarding for people who want to do a little bit of charity work. And it's all voluntary and a bit of fun doing it most of the time, isn't it?
I think that's the key thing. It's actually great fun being part of a livery.
Yeah.
It really is.
And you have being part of an ancient livery company. I mean, we're number 20, formed in
71.
30. I should know this.
And
I will do
yes,
by the
you
time
will.
I'm master. 1371, and we got our first royal ordinance from King Richard in 14. When was King Richard there? It's the only time, the only livery company which had King Richard as our patron, effectively.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You remember when his bones were found in the car park near Leicester, and he's just been recently interred in Leicester Cathedral. So we were able to provide the candles for that, and our Master of the Year went to the service. So it's very special.
Reinterment of.
Very special
Yeah.
events, definitely.
I wouldn't have wanted to have his parking ticket. It was a bit overdue, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
But no, but the history and the traditions associated with the City of London. I mean, I've lived out 20 miles outside of London all my life, and there's things I've never seen before. And just the livery companies, the halls, they're so private, and yet they're not secret.
No,
really,
exactly.
it's just private.
Yeah.
And they've all got some stories. If you stand still long enough, something's going to happen to you. So you've got fabulous ones like fishmongers who, I mean, Wat Tyler was killed by the Lord Mayor, who was a fishmonger on Blackheath, that sort of stuff. In fact, only a couple of years ago, it was Fishmongers Hall where that terrorist attack was, and somebody took the narwhal's spike off the wall and actually attacked the terrorist, used it as a weapon. Yeah. That's Fishmongers Hall. So that's one of the big ones. So the livery movement is incredibly vibrant, and it's good fun to see some of the things that go on.
And for those of our viewers who are perhaps not so familiar with the terminology you're using, you've mentioned the term livery quite a lot.
Ah, yeah, okay. Yes, it is a bit confusing, isn't it? It was set up in the City of London where excellence was demanded, because you get higher prices when you've got something that's excellent. So the masters of each of the crafts would set up their own, like an apprenticeship scheme, and they would introduce somebody as an apprentice who would then become a journeyman, freeman. They'd be given freedom, and freedom of a company means that they can trade. And then they would become free of the City of London. So all liverymen have got freedom of the city. And it's not like in America you get a key to the city. No, freedom means that you can trade in the City of London. If you haven't got freedom, you have to pay extra taxes and your standards have to be lifted. So it's effectively almost a monopoly situation that you, so if you want to trade in London, you've got to meet these standards. And it's where the term city and guilds comes from. That's all out of the guild system. So all the livery companies have this progression. So you go from freedom, then you become clothed, which is your livery. And therefore you are then, and then you can move through and become a master if you're lucky. So you go through the system to become, a master of that particular company.
So in some ways, it's almost like different ranks in the military or in a company.
It's the achievement.
Perhaps.
It's skills. Traditionally it's the skill set.
It was the skills,
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you join, you're going to learn how to do the job, and then you get good at it, and then you become very good at it.
And then you can set up your own.
And then you're allowed to trade
Yes.
independently as a. In our case, it would have been as a candle maker.
Wow, so a lot of stages just to be able to trade properly.
Back in the Middle Ages, yes.
Wow.
And nowadays we have gowns which we wear. So maybe if we were invited back next year, we could wear the gowns, and then you can see some of the history that's embroidered into what we wear. Because again, it all resonates with where we came from and why we carry on, really, and look forward.
That would be lovely to see them, definitely.
Yes.
And I've just, of course, I noticed your medals the moment you walked in because they're quite fabulous.
Oh yeah,
But
somebody
could you
still
just
has a
show
wrapper.
us?
No, this is a warden's medal. I'm a renter warden, which is the first stage of the progression, which is a green ribbon. The medals are the same, aren't they?
They are.
With a small beehive on there.
Skep.
A skep. And these are, you've got a skep maker here, actually.
Yes.
Have you spoken to him?
Not today. We haven't had an
He's
interview
fascinating,
today. But...
absolutely fascinating. So this is our medal with our coat of arms on it, and our thing, which is the truth is the light, which is our motto.
Candlelight.
Yes.
Absolutely.
How lovely. That is
So
really
I get
lovely.
one as renter warden, and then the prime warden, or our master, he has the full chain.
Yes.
A big badge.
A big badge, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you become past master or deputy master, which is the blue collar. I think the upper warden is yellow.
Yellow. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's Margaret. She's here somewhere.
But we were in effect all trustees of the company,
Yeah.
aren't we? And that's our role, is to ensure good governance and make sure we're giving out money generously to needy causes and things like that, and support occasions, events like today. The National Honey Show is very important to all Wax Chandlers.
And it's the education side is the thing,
Yeah.
which is the justification that we have for it. This is about education. And without us, it's almost like a cement, but with the National Honey Show, it sort of brings it all together. I don't know why I'm still hanging.
I can hold your brick for you if you like.
So the Wax Chandlers holds the hive together and makes
good.
the hive work.
Yes, good. Yes,
Yes, that's a nice way to think of it.
yeah.
Well, it's been absolutely lovely to speak to you both today. Thank you, Lynda, for coming back in, and thank you, Tony, for
It's a pleasure.
coming in. For those of our viewers who are still watching, thank you so much for keeping listening. It's going to get even more exciting, so stay tuned. This is only the second day of the National Honey Show. It's the busiest day of the National Honey Show. Tomorrow, we can make it even busier if you pop on by and get your tickets at the door.